still here. We're still here. We're still here. We're still here. We're still here.
It comes off. The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship, and it's their second three-peat.
If one of us go to war, we all go to war.
And we are locked in. What's going on, Dave the Wave?
Cuzzo, I'm doing great, man. Life is good. Always locked in. How are you doing, my man?
Doing absolutely great. We have so much news to talk about. We're going to NBA games. We're going to MMA award shows, commentating for so many events, going to American Top Team, see Billy Patton and our guy Pete White boxing, and Pitt Taylor. It's been a stacked week.
Absolutely. And at the end of this episode, we had that Zach LaVine interview that you did with him. Is that right?
Yeah, he was officially my second favorite player in the NBA now. He's that nice. He was very cool, and he had a really efficient night. And then the next night, I guess our locked-in charm with MMA is now taking place in the NBA because then I think he dropped 42 the next night.
We do have that rub. It's the rub. And it's funny. So, guys, everyone that's listening, make sure you stay to the end of the podcast. We're going to give our locked-ins, but do not leave. Don't, fast forward. Listen to the Zach LaVine interview. Max, it was incredible. A-plus job from you, like always. But, Max, I have some things I need to talk to you about. You ready?
Let's hear it.
I think our family and you especially, the first 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years were the biggest Walking Dead fans I know. Like, it was every Sunday night. I remember you wouldn't watch a football game, but you would watch Walking Dead. Like, it was that big, right?
Yeah, back in the Rick Grimes days.
Yeah, exactly. And then, to me, we've had these talks. It went downhill. It was just too negative. I just didn't like where the writers were taking the show. I was off of it. And you were like, hey, Dave, don't give up on it yet. I'm like, Max, I do think it's a little down. So we had those talks. And I remember saying to you, I was like, Max, are you watching these last couple episodes? And you're like, no, Dave, I'm not watching anymore. The last month of The Walking Dead, I will put against any month in The Walking Dead's history. Rick Grimes in his prime. And I don't think I'm over-exaggerating. John Jones is one of the greatest UFC fighters ever. I'm stating facts here. It's tremendous. Like, it's kind of back to it's scary again. It's very suspenseful. It's got a great storyline. There's tons of action. There's like almost just one story going on, and I'm not going to spoil it because I think after this call, we will get back on it together. I think you'll jump back on The Walking Dead. Like, Max, there's like one clear-cut story, and all the characters are there. It's great. Like, am I talking you back into it a little bit?
I am 2 episodes behind, so I'm not completely off of it.
Awesome.
Just because my love for The Walking Dead was so strong, I can't just bail out now. And what my analogy is, imagine watching Batman without Batman. Like, that's how I feel watching The Walking Dead without Rick Grimes. It's just not the same. There's rumors that I know that Michonne may leave. I've gotten to the point, spoiler alert, guys, if you're listening, spoiler alert. Jesus, the character in Walking Dead, died. I saw that, and I understand who the walkers are, or the whisperers, whatever you call them. They're dressed up as walkers. And then I know Maggie's not on the show anymore, and I was okay with no more Glenn. But at some point, no Carl. Like, you have to have a foundation of characters, and we still have Carol. You still have Daryl. But it's to the point where I think they've taken so much away that our expectations are, we just want a good episode. And it was a good episode. I agree with you. I like the direction that they're going in, but I don't think it'll ever reach the opportunity. Like you said, these couple of episodes are great, but I still wouldn't put it to the Rick Prime days.
Hey, you might be right. It's a great call by you. It's like, Alabama teams, sometimes this New England Patriot team just won the Super Bowl. It's not the best Super Bowl team for the Patriots ever. It's almost kind of like this. The Walking Dead now, they kind of surprised you. They kind of came out of nowhere, and they won the Super Bowl. But it's still good enough. It's still so if you're 2 behind these 2 next episodes, Max, you're going to love. I just can't wait. I know we're a sports podcast. We'll get into the NBA. I know you and I desperately want to talk about the Lakers, or I want to talk about the Lakers. I don't know if you're going to want to hear what I have to say to you, but I just want to start the episode like that. The Walking Dead is back. It's really, really great lately.
No, that was a great intro. I'm very happy that you started that way because I know we're going to disagree big time with the Lakers. We may not disagree as much as you think because I've seen a couple of your rants and the things you've tagged me in, and you're not 100% wrong, but you are a percentage wrong. I couldn't give you the exact amount right now, but we definitely disagree a bit, but we do agree a little bit. So I don't know if you want to take the floor on my Lakers or if you want me to explain why you're a tad wrong.
Well, if people haven't heard or seen it, we'll kind of start, you got to start the story at the beginning. 2 months ago, or 6 weeks ago, when the Anthony Davis trade was happening, all the rumors of the Anthony Davis trade was happening. We all had a whole podcast on it. I felt like you were still a tad too high on the Lakers. I think LeBron was just about to come back, and you're like, hey, they were, top 4 seed when he was healthy, and they're going to get back, and the trade rumors will die off, or we'll get Anthony Davis. I know you wanted to trade literally Kobe in his prime, Shaq, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic. You wanted to trade every Laker possible in the world to get him. I might be exaggerating a little bit, but I just thought it was going to sink this 2019 season for the Lakers. And with them, and I remember this, you did lock them in, 100% locked in having the Lakers make the playoffs this year. And I was like, wow, okay, and I respect that. For one, you are the absolute smartest sports mind I know, I think, other than myself. So that's why when you lock stuff in, I'm all in. You've changed my mind so many times on big sports theories and players and events. So I love it. But this one, I just think you're so far, your love is so far into it, you're not seeing the story and seeing just this team's negative trajectory, and they're just descending down. And Max, the Lakers aren't going to make the playoffs this year, man. It's not going to happen.
Okay. Well, first of all, I appreciate the comment, so let's start with the positive there. But here's the thing. I always said based on what your expectations were going into the season will determine whether or not you labeled it a bust. If your expectations were they're going to go to the Western Conference Finals or they're certainly going to give the Warriors a run for their money, then yes, this season was an absolute bust. Now, my expectations were to make the playoffs right. I thought they'd win a playoff series, maybe 2. So just off that alone, yes, this season is a little bit disappointing. But the reason why I'm not all down on them is for a couple reasons. One, I knew this year was an evaluation year. I knew it was what young guys work with LeBron. Does Luke Walton work with LeBron? How is LeBron? So that was my first thing. So I knew this year wasn't a championship year. I know next year is their best shot when they land a free agent, hopefully, an Anthony Davis or a Kyrie Irving or a Clay or a Kawhi, right? We know the list. But this is where I will be critical of LeBron. For one, I still think he can make the playoffs. I'm not saying it's probable, but there is still a chance. I'm disappointed in him in the fact, not because he got injured. We all know they were the 4th seed. They beat the Warriors on Christmas Day. He gets injured. Obviously, they fall way down. I'm disappointed in the fact that I don't know he's 100% committed. And when I first heard that criticism, I was skeptical. Like, of course, he has a lot of business ventures, and rightly so, right? We all know LeBron, he's a kingpin. But I don't feel he's 100% invested in winning playoff games and making his teammates first, like I did in the past. I don't see that, and that's what I'm disappointed in. I think he needs to hug these guys, not talk down on them, because there's a time and place for both. And I don't think he's addressed it the right way. I'm not saying it's a bust, Dave, but I do agree with you. I am not as high on the Lakers as I originally were beginning the season, and even post Anthony Davis trade rumors. I think the turmoil in the locker room is really bad. I think Luke Walton isn't a good fit with LeBron James, and that's going to end up changing. And I do think they land a free agent. I still do. I don't know if the Pelicans are going to want to do the deal, but that's where all the eggs in one basket are going to be, that direction. So ultimately, long story short, although these are all disappointing facts, I think this result will still be the same if they land a free agent.
I do hear that, and everything you said was, really spot on, except for one thing, and I'm still going to I want to go back to it if we can. I got two little analogies for you, and then kind of give you my point. The greatest UFC fight ever, the Forrest Griffin, Stephan Bonner fight. Bonner lost, but he won. It was such a great fight, and his will, and he brought everyone up. In a losing fashion, he still won. The Kansas City Chiefs were maybe a tad disappointed, but before the season, they weren't even a playoff team. They got to the AFC Championship game in overtime against the greatest dynasty of our lifetime, the team that won the Super Bowl, the Patriots. Like, the Chiefs, you feel good. They lost, but you feel good about it. I just don't like the feel of the Lakers. I just feel negative, messy, loud. They don't like each other. The young guys don't like the old guys. The coaches. I just never felt this way. I remember 10 years ago LeBron James taking pictures on the sideline of the Cavs with Delonte West, with Coach Brown, and all the old players on, Tristan Thompson and all these guys in the Cavs. They were like a brotherhood, a family. And now I just think that LeBron wants big-time free agents there in L.A., and I agree with you. They will nail a top 20, top 15 player this offseason via trade or free agent. But for them not to make the playoffs this year, for them just to kind of lose, they're 2 games ahead of the Pelicans without Anthony Davis. They're behind the Kings and Timberwolves. These are teams like, Max, I can say before the season, I'm like, Max, there's no way the Lakers will be behind the Kings or the Timberwolves. And you're like, Dave, of course not. That's what I mean. Like, just, it's okay to lose. Like, it's okay that they're not going to win the championship and, they're not going to get through Golden State anyways. But for them to be like the 11th seed and kind of feel heartless, I just feel that's a really major disappointment. And that's the point I want to get across. It's not them just losing, Max, and then maybe just not make the playoffs. It's how they're losing and how they're not making the playoffs.
And I agree with that. There's no disagreement there. I am disappointed with the locker room because they don't feel like a whole team. Like you said, they're not uniform. They're not all in sync. And I think LeBron doesn't have that guy to relate to. He just has, like you said, it's the outliers with the old veterans or it's the young guys. So I am being critical of the Lakers, but if I could put one positive spin on it, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Of course, LeBron doesn't want to miss the playoffs. The Lakers fan base does not want to miss the playoffs. Magic Johnson, Rob Pelinka, Jeannie Buss, myself do not want the Lakers to miss the playoffs. But if I did take a positive spin on it, would you agree that it may be good for LeBron James to actually have a complete summer off and go all in next season if they do land a free agent?
No.
Really? So it's like
Yeah.
not even a positive, like, okay, at least he can rest up. He has his injury. He's obviously overweight right now. Go all in next season. Like, it's still just not good, right?
Correct. And it's a good point, or it's a positive point that you can take out of, to me, a mess or a really negative situation. When you get into a car crash, it stinks. But if you're okay, you get a new car. Like, I get what you're kind of saying. Just for the mental state of the Lakers, who hopefully will be there, and they can't trade everyone for Anthony Davis, and if they do, even like Josh Hart will be on the team, or Lonzo Ball, like some of these guys, they're not going to trade all 6, like the literally 2 through 7 on their roster, right? They need to be in the postseason. They need to feel positive. Like, everyone, they're thinking they're just going to fire Luke Walton, but what happened if Luke Walton outcoaches Rick Carlisle? Like, what happened if he outcoaches a good coach in the West, Greg Popovich? Like, you need to see them play in the postseason. And then I'm going to go ultra positive on the Lakers and ultra positive with LeBron. And LeBron's my favorite basketball player of all time. It's nothing negative towards LeBron. It's more about the Lakers. You just need to get in the postseason, Max. Then anything can happen. I've seen it myself with injuries. I am a diehard New York Knicks fan. Look up the 1999-2000 season when they were the 8th seed and they upset the 1. they upset the 4, and they upset the 2 seed to go to the NBA Finals. LeBron is still a top 3, top 1 player in the whole entire world. You need to get into the postseason and let anything happen. Tom Brady got into the postseason, and he upset a couple teams. Like, I just think it's important for the Lakers to win, feel a little bit of success, build on something. I just don't think the Lakers can miss the playoffs, LeBron rests in the summer, them get AD in a free agent, and then automatically win a championship next year. I just think needs to be a little bit of a building process, and them not making the playoffs this year would be a bad foundation for the next season.
And I agree with that. I do. I do have a question to you, too, because I was talking to a couple people, and I never thought about it from this angle, but it's like a known fact. When the Anthony Davis trade rumors were going on with the Lakers, obviously they fired Dell Demps. Why was there not any NBA tampering with that? Because they said that the GM felt pressure from other executives around the league to not do that trade. So you're telling me from a post-game interview from a player that could be caused as tampering, but yet other executives putting pressure on another GM not to make a trade, is that not NBA tampering? I just wanted to get your opinion on that very quickly.
No, 100%. It's the lay of the land. We live in America. NFL players, if they get a DUI, they'll get cut. But if the owner gets a DUI, they get a $50,000 fine. It's life. There's classes. There's the rich. There's middle class. There's the poor. And different people can get away with different stuff. Kanye West does the dumbest things in the world, but he's one of the greatest musicians of our lifetime, so he gets away with it. That's life. That's just how it is.
It makes sense. And the last thing I'll say about my Lakers, I don't want to count them out just yet. It would take a miracle for them to make the playoffs, but there's a couple things. For one, do you have 100% confidence in the Sacramento Kings?
No.
Do you have 100% confidence in the Clippers? Do you have 100% confidence in a couple teams that are above them? I do not. And do I have 100% confidence in the Lakers? No, I don't. But all I'm saying is it's not impossible. And I feel like everybody's already written LeBron off as no longer the best player in the world. And the Lakers are 100% not making the playoffs, which may end up happening where they don't. But I just want everyone to be aware that there still is an opportunity for them to make it. And if he makes it, I feel like this ends everything. Of course, you don't like the turmoil. Of course, Luke Walton, who I believe, and I don't ever want a coach to just get fired. Like, he deserves to get fired. But you can't tell me one thing that he really does well. His rotations doesn't make sense. I don't think he has the locker room I don't think he has a big grip on it because you have the biggest star in the world in LeBron James who doesn't like you. So it's kind of hard to get a grip on the locker room when all the young players also follow LeBron James. So my point being is I just don't want everybody to count the Lakers out just yet.
Kevin Garnett said anything is possible.
100%. All right, is that it for your Lakers, Dave? Because I have another off script for you.
That is for the Lakers. I do want the off script, but there is a guy I do want to talk about, and I hope it's your off script question. So let's see if our great minds think alike.
Is he the future Nick?
The future Nick, the future greatest player of our lifetime.
Stop.
That's Grohl.
All right, so Zion Williamson for Duke hurts his foot. His foot completely goes through the Nike shoe, which he will probably get a mega contract deal now. Just watch. So that happens, right? And now it's a minor strained knee. It could have been a lot worse. And it's day-to-day. He's probable for a comeback. But people are saying, he should wait for the NBA for the big contract. Why wait or why risk getting re-injured? But then other people say he went to Duke to play basketball. Why wouldn't you play basketball? And I understand both sides of it. I really do. But, Dave, I'm going to take a side. Zion Williamson should wait. 100% should wait. If you are the number one overall pick in the draft, no matter what, why in the world would you risk re-injuring yourself? And I know because you love basketball. You want to win a national championship, and he should play basketball. But that's just not how things work nowadays. He doesn't get paid for the Super Bowl level ticket prices at the college games. He's not getting paid for that. Wait and make your millions. Get healthy. Focus on what you need to do to elevate your game to the NBA level. And if he were to play, Dave, I wouldn't be upset at him. But I'm certainly not going to criticize him for wanting to wait to play for your New York Knicks.
Okay, Cuzzo. Zion Williamson, if he says, hey guys, I'm going to join the Army for 2 years. I want to serve our great country of America. I'm going to take a 2-year sabbatical, and comes back, serves our great country, and then comes back to the 2022 NBA draft. Will he be the first pick of the draft, and will he be worth bazillions?
Yes.
Okay. So absolutely come back and play. There's no reason. Max, there's things, there's brotherhoods. There's him and RJ Barrett and Cam Reddish, I hear, has an amazing relationship. They want to win a championship. That Kentucky team, that Anthony Davis, Devin Booker, that team that won a championship, that can never be taken away. To be called a champion, a national championship, is unbelievable. And then there's nothing like college. When you leave college and become professional, you see how drama-filled the NBA is now. We kill Russell Westbrook and the guy averages a triple-double. We kill Harden because he doesn't win championships, but he averages 36 a game. People are so negative on LeBron. Guys, if you might not like some of the things he does personally, if you can't admire how great LeBron James is at basketball, and has been for over a decade, you just don't know the sport. Like, we kill Zion Williamson will come into the league, and after 2 years of not winning the championship yet, or shooting only 65% from the foul line, media will start squashing him, and like he's not the greatest player ever. For him, he's so positively loved there in Duke and supportive. Yeah, and the one thing I heard this, and I kind of wanted to give the guy credit, but I kind of it slipped my head. I'm not remembering. He's definitely improved. Coach K is one of the greatest coaches in basketball, not even just college, just basketball. That's why he coaches the Olympic teams for America. God, this is such a patriotic rant right here. My point is he's getting better. He's developing. He's a better defender than when he first came to college. He's a better passer than he came to college. He actually handles the ball better. There's just guys like Kyrie Irving that I think should have played more basketball, and his game's a little bit incomplete. Yeah, he can close and shoot and score, but he probably doesn't defend as good as he should. And he probably doesn't move without the ball as good as he should. People, when you stay in college, you develop little things like Draymond Green and Tim Duncan has. They stayed all 4 years. They know how to set picks. They know when to, help defense better. Little things. They know when to call a timeout. And that might not sound, things. These are things that win games, especially in June. And the last player I'm going to say is Paul George, which I didn't even know I was going to say this, but I kind of forgot. I was there in Las Vegas when the Olympic team played and he broke his leg. I was there. I have pictures of it, and I remember watching it and just being horrified about it. He has came back, and he is now in the MVP race. So it's 2019. The technology is amazing with injuries. And Zion his body is unbelievable. So I am more than confident if something happens, he'll be fine. And he will still be the first pick of the draft, regardless if he tears his AC tomorrow morning coming out of the dorm shower. Zion should absolutely play, Max. There's nothing like March Madness. There's nothing like playing with your brothers. There's nothing like playing for a team and trying to win a championship. I just think you're off base on this one, Max. He's got to play basketball.
I'm a Duke guy. Trust me, I want to see him win a national championship for Duke. And I'll say this. If he is 100% healthy, there's no sprain, then yes, play. But if he has a sprained knee and it's still bothering him a little bit, and he's like, it definitely feels different, that's when I'm like, dude, don't even risk it. There's no point. But if it is like, dude, I'm fine. I'm 100% fine. My knee feels like it never got injured, then yes, play basketball. But it was a really good point you said. He has improved, and we've talked about this on the podcast. His handles, his passing ability is very underrated. And on top of that, not only does he finish around the rim exceptionally well, not even just when he dunks it, but just his touch around the rim. He has such a soft touch. He moves without the ball really well. He doesn't need the ball to score 25 points. He can just get it just straight off of his athleticism and his basketball IQ. So that is a good point. He's definitely soaking up some knowledge under Coach K. And that experience playing at a national championship level, if he is to win one, you can't replicate that any other way.
Exactly, and that's my point. I don't mind him sitting out throughout the regular season. Really help rest up the knee, get your body right, get your mind right, all that. But when it's March Madness and we're a week away, we're 2 weeks away, when the tournament starts and it's a one-game elimination, Zion Williamson should play. Even if he's at 80, 85, 90%, if you're a B+, you should play. Zion Williamson as a B+ in this tournament, you could argue is still the best player in college basketball, or at least in the top 5. So try to win a championship. You're going to be the first-round pick. Nike's going to send you millions of dollars. The Knicks would gladly have you on their team. I'm a Knicks fan. You ready for this one? Totally off script, Max. I have a gut feeling Zion Williamson is going to become a Chicago Bull. Isn't that crazy?
It's not crazy. When I talked to Zach LaVine, I saw the Bulls. They're in need of something. And even though they beat the Magic by 1, they're not a good NBA team right now. Obviously, one of the worst teams in the league. If he falls to the Bulls, that would be exciting. I think it'd be really exciting to see him fall to the Hawks.
Well, he's not going to fall. He's going to be the number 1 pick. It's just about the NBA
No,
lottery.
yeah. That's what I meant.
The Bulls leapfrog in New York, Phoenix, and Cleveland, and become it's happened. It's the Cavs did it one year when they were supposed to be the 8th pick, and they got the 1st pick. So it does happen. I just think without Jordan, they haven't had it, and I know Rose was good that year. Zach LaVine, who we'll talk to in 5-7 minutes on the show, I think he's a really good Robin. I think he's a great NBA player, but he can't be the best player on your team if you're going to win big. So I think he's a great Robin. And then the Lauren Markkanen, how do you say his last name?
Markkanen.
He's a stud. I like him. If he can stay healthy, they have a great foundation if they're lucky enough to get Zion. And I just think it's something. It's a gut feeling. I can't give you any particulars or any diagrams. It's a gut that Zion will become a Chicago Bull.
No, and I kind of agree with that. It's either that or the Knicks, but for some reason the Bulls does have a nice ring to it. And I'll say very quickly before we get to the Zach LaVine interview here, one thing I was impressed with Zach LaVine was the way he looked at the game. He a lot of players in these locker rooms. And it's no slight or disrespect towards them, but a lot of them do have egos, and a lot of them are about themselves and their stats. And talking to Zach LaVine, not only did he have so much self-awareness, you could tell he's all about winning. And I think that gets overshadowed because of how bad the Bulls are right now. But like you said, with a player like Zion, for Zach LaVine to have an opportunity to be a Robin, I think people would see that a little bit more as well.
I love it. I have it locked in. If you don't have anything else, I would love to get to it because I know people are dying to hear how funny Zach LaVine is. But if you got anything else, I'll talk for another 4 hours.
No, go ahead and give your locked in. And then, Zach LaVine hints about the next dunk contest. So go ahead, Dave.
All right. Right before I'll say that is another show I just want to talk about for 30 seconds. And I remember you were super into it. I haven't heard anything back from you. And the new season started, and it's incredible. The Blacklist. Are you caught up with that?
Oh, God. We love The Blacklist. Olivia and I watch it, but we've stopped for a while because we got into Shark Tank. We got The Walking Dead came back on, obviously the NFL postseason, but it is still on our list. I'm still into it. It's just kind of on the list.
Okay, so definitely get back into it. Like I said, there's a huge, crazy thing happen at the end of the season you're on. And now Susie and I, we're like 6-7 episodes into the next season, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. They kind of picked up right where they could have went right or left, and they went the right way. They got Dunkin' Donuts right in front of them. Life is good.
Nice. Did they subscribe to the Locked In podcast on any podcast platform?
What are you talking about? Of course. You're talking about Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, iHeartRadio, or even Spotify?
Wow. That's a good podcast right there.
Best in the world. Mitchell Jamali said it himself.
But what's your locked in?
All right. My locked in, I am so intrigued with the East. In the East playoff bracket and the series, there's so many teams, and it's LeBron's not in the East anymore. Hey, LeBron might not even be in the playoffs anymore. I just love, there's so many teams, if 4 teams came out of the East, you wouldn't be totally shocked, and I just love that. But I'm going to kind of put some stock in one team, and I just don't think as being a 1 seed and having the MVP on it, they're almost going underneath the radar. And that is, of course, Fear the Deer, the Greek Freak, the Milwaukee Bucks. So I'm going to lock something in, Max. The Milwaukee Bucks will be in the Eastern Conference Finals. I got to see who they're going to play. We'll maybe come back to this and see if they're going to win the whole freaking thing. But they will not even win 1 playoff series. They will win 2 playoff series. The first time the Bucks will make it to the Eastern Conference Finals in around over 35 years. And it's happening this year because Dave the Wave locked that in.
Since Luol Slender. I think so.
You might be right. It's like 35, 36 years. It's Google image that.
A.K.A. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the GOAT. No, that's a good locked in because mine was actually – we're cousins, guys. We did not talk about this before. We usually do talk about our locked-ins, but I had one, and it was about Giannis. I owe him an apology. Way back, check the archives, locked in, like we said, on any podcast platform. Download and subscribe. I said Ben Simmons has higher potential than the Greek Freak. And I'm still a Ben guy, and I still think this league can be his. But I am going to give it back to Giannis because there's one thing I'm very impressed about with Giannis is his mentality and his willingness to keep putting in the work and getting better. There's like rumbles, and like you always say, when there's smoke, there's fire. Ben really didn't work on his jump shot over the summer. Ben kind of this, Ben kind of that. Giannis, and like he's dating a Jenner or whatever the case may be, Giannis, I've never heard anything other than he wants to be the best basketball player in the world. And to me, that is such a valuable thing in a young player who may be the best player in the world. Giannis, I've seen leaps and bounds in his improvement. His jump shot is getting better. It's still not where it needs to be, but he's shooting the 3 and he's hitting them occasionally, so it requires the defense to come out and guard him on the perimeter. But like you said, he has Chris Middleton, who was an all-star, but he's not a superstar by any means. And with this unit, the new coaching staff really seems to fit with him as well. I love this Milwaukee team, but I think Giannis not only proved me wrong, I think he's the top 3, top 4 best player in the world right now. And yes, I still have LeBron 1, although I know it's not a hot take. It's a hot take at the moment. I think Kevin Durant's still above him just because of his shooting ability, and it's kind of hard to put him over Curry. But I think Giannis is better than Harden. I think Giannis is better than Kawhi. Frankly, Giannis is the best player in the East, hands down, and that's locked in.
Because Giannis has something that Derek Jeter, Tom Brady, Tim Duncan have. And the Greek Freak is an unbelievable, talented, once-in-a-lifetime generational player. He just puts his head down and works harder than the next guy. And that is just something you just can't teach. It's just this unique skill that he has to want to win, will himself to win, will his team to win. No BS, nothing at all. Giannis wants to win basketball games. And that you just can't teach. And that's why I got the Bucks winning 2 playoff series. Especially
to go alongside his unbelievable, unique athleticism, his 12-foot wingspan probably. But yeah, what a great episode, Dave. We've been teasing this all episode long. Zach LaVine from the Chicago Bulls. The All-Star game is in Chicago next year, so he kind of hints about that. Do you have any last words, Dave?
Cuzzo, like always, man, don't drink and drive. Zach LaVine, great interview. Cuzzo, I'll see you soon, man.
All righty, my man. Have a great one. We have a big week ahead, so make sure you get your rest.
Absolutely, will do. I'll see you soon.
Yes, sir.
Zach, I feel like your athleticism is unique, and you utilize it very well. How has your athleticism helped you with other aspects of your game?
I feel like it helps, definitely with shot creation.
Right.
I can get my shot off, and then being able to go a hole and create and find other people, or hanging in the air and making tough baskets. I can get on the break, pretty much run by somebody. So.
And I have to ask this just because you and Aaron Gordon are arguably the greatest dunk contest of all time. What were your thoughts on this year's dunk contest, and do you ever plan on competing in it again?
It was good, man. It's in Chicago next year, so never know.
Right.
See how my legs feel.